Scenes of Taylor University, a program where we get to hear the stories of some of our great faculty here on campus. My name is Anessa, and with me today is Linda Lambert, who is an Instructional Services Librarian at Taylor University. Thank you for joining us today, Linda.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Now, some of you may not know, but Linda has gone on some amazing mission trips all around the world, helping to create libraries in places that need a library but don't have the resources to build them. Now, Linda, these trips are kind of unique. Can you tell us a little bit how this got started?
Well, the first trip I took, I sought out by finding an ad in a missions magazine, and after corresponding with them, it just happened, and I ended up in Indonesia. Later on, people knew of my interest, and so they just kind of landed in my lap through various people, Swaziland through a Nazarene pastor, and Kenya, and other places, just because I knew people and had those contacts.
Now, what are the purposes of this trip?
Well, primarily, it's mainly to support nationals who maybe they don't have a library degree, or they just need a little additional assistance, starting a program or bringing something along with me that would help them. So it's to be a service and assist.
All right. And it's not always easy running a library in a totally different country. Have you ever come up with any problems, like in Swaziland, for instance?
Well, Swaziland was an interesting place because they were in the process of moving from one building to a new building, and the first building was not climate controlled, and so it was open air. So as you can imagine, in a warm climate, all kinds of insects found their ways into the building, and then when I would open up books, I would find them inside the books, such as silverfish and cockroaches and spiders. So that was kind of a shock.
Yeah, it sounds like you've had some very interesting experiences. Can you tell me a little bit about Germany? I hear there's some interesting things that happened there.
Oh, well, I went to Germany because I had a friend who at that time was a Bible professor at the Bible College in the Black Forest. And so I was going to assist the librarian, and she ended up having to leave the country unexpectedly, so they kind of put me in a Plan B position, which was in that school, the school being in the Black Forest, which is a very touristy area, the students did practical work, which meant that they were maids, housekeepers, servants, all kinds of practical things. And so they put me along on one of those teams. Well, it didn't work out very well because my German's not that good. So somebody thought maybe they would need someone to help a missionary he was somewhat getting older, maybe in his 70s, and his life dream was to write this book, which was a checklist of pietistic writings, and he needed an editor. So I spent 6 weeks editing that book, which eventually did get published, but it was only a book that only a librarian would love.
Now, you spent some time in Hong Kong. Can you tell me about that?
Well, I went on a team with 3 other people to teach English in relationship with the church. So we were supported by the church. And the day that I was buying my ticket, they called very unexpectedly and said, we'd like for you to take the same teaching that you're doing in Hong Kong and go to China. So I bought my ticket to Hong Kong, not even knowing where in China I was going to go. So we did it twice, and I was in Hong Kong and then China for 10 days after that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It looks like we're out of time, but we at the studio just want to thank you so much for coming in, Linda. And thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in next Tuesday for another episode of Behind the Scenes of Taylor University, where we will have the chance to hear more about some life stories. We hope to see you next week, but until then, have a blessed week. Thank you so much, Linda, once again. We are just so blessed and thrilled to have you here. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.